What's good, crypto fam? Happy Tuesday. How's it going? Let me know in the live chat. In today's show, we'll be discussing Bitcoin price flatlining near 27,000, but what can trigger the next big move? In quoting crypto analyst Mikhail Pop, Bitcoin isn't looking bad on the higher time frames, healthy correction, and as long as Bitcoin sustains above 25,300, it's likely we'll continue this rally towards $42,000. And breaking news just in, Coinbase sues the SEC, seeking regulatory clarity for the crypto industry. Also, quoting Nayib Bukele, president of El Salvador, they can't eliminate Tucker Carlson, so they will try to smear him, censor him, and get him off of the air. Also in today's show, more breaking news. The Bitcoin price hits a record high in Argentina as the Argentina pesos have crashed 99% versus the US dollar since the beginning of the currency crisis in 2018. Also, Visa shares plans for an ambitious crypto product, stablecoin payments. That's right. Also in today's show, crypto whales and sharks are rapidly eating up the stablecoins for the past month during this market bounce, according to Sentiment Analytics, as well as U.S. banking crisis triggered $68 billion in outflows from the global financial giant. I'll be breaking down this report, as well as El Salvador's digital transformation, the unlikely leader in Bitcoin adoption, as well as Max Keiser, the crypto Willy Wonka, ready to seize the moment at Bitcoin 2023. Quoting him here, in Star Wars, when they jump into hyperspace, that's what's happening in El Salvador. Bitcoin plus Bukele, with some help from Max and Stacy, has catapulted the country into becoming Bitcoin maximalist country. And he also says that 220,000 will come in a flash, and then the real bull market starts. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this plus so much more in today's show. Welcome everyone just tuning in. This is pod episode number 1262. I'm your host JV, and today is April 25th, 2023. And checking out today's market watch, we got Bitcoin back in the green and pumping. Once again, up 0.25%, trading just above $27,300. Ether in the red, down 1%, trading just above $1,800. And as you can see, overall, most of the alts are correcting and in the red. And checking out coinmarketcap.com, we got the crypto market cap just above $1.1 trillion with 35.5 billion in volume in the past 24 hours. Bitcoin dominance back on the climb at 46.1%, and the Ether dominance at 19% even. And checking out the top 100 cryptocurrencies and gainers in the top 100, we have INJ up 7%, trading at just above $7, followed by Chili's up 4%, trading at 12.5 cents, followed by Render token up 3%, trading at $1.80, and below that we have Litecoin and OKB. And checking out the top 100 crypto gainers for the past week, INJ leading the pack, up about 7%, followed by COS up almost 4%, and RNDR up 3.7%, but the vast majority of the alts are bleeding and in the red for the week. And checking out the Crypto Greed and Fear Index, one of my favorite indicators, shows we're currently rated a 53 neutral, yesterday a 53, last week a 58 in greed, and last month a 64 in greed. So there you have it. And now let's dive into today's Bitcoin technical analysis and check out the charts and what's cracking within Bitcoin. After a week in which Bitcoin fell by 10%, sentiment is getting a reset and traders are eyeing key support levels closer to 25,000. But at the same time, consensus is far from unanimous over market health. Some believe that the next phase of upside is around the corner. Let's go. As macro markets gear up for a new period of crucial data and moves from the U.S. Federal Reserve, volatility catalysts are waiting in the wings, with Bitcoin potentially not staying calm for long. So will the Fed call the market's bluff? That's the million-dollar question. It may be all quiet thus far when it comes to macroeconomic triggers this week, but that is about to change. Beginning April 27th, just 2 days away, new data will emerge from the U.S., which could deliver a burst of volatility for currently lackluster risk assets. U.S. gross domestic product and jobless claims will precede the March print of the personal consumption expenditures, which is the PCE index, with the latter keenly eyed by the Fed for cues on inflation. This month's timing is pretty important. A week later, the Fed will decide on how much, if at all, to raise the benchmark interest rates. And while the market already believes it knows the answer, this allows any surprises to have even more pronounced impact on the sentiment and the price action. And according to the CME Group's FedWatch tool, as of April 25th, today, there is an 87% chance that the Fed raises rates by 0.25% in early May. Let me know if you agree or disagree with that. The Bitcoin remains correlated with U.S. equities into the end of the month, and concerns beyond crypto are focusing on indices' inability to print new highs. For trading firm Mosaic Asset, caution is warranted for several reasons going forward, quoting them here. First, the rally since mid-March is leading to a sharp increase in bullish sentiment, signaling too much greed amongst investors. There's also a big negative breadth divergence across multiple timeframes in the stock market's rally since mid-March. It warned in its latest edition of its newsletter, and an accompanying chart showed declining bullishness across the S&P 500, making a potential change of environment compared to quarter one. Now just take a look at the percent of stocks trading above their 50-day moving average. It continued when the S&P was trading at a similar level back in early February. Nearly 81% of the stocks were in solid uptrends, as shown with these arrows here in this chart. But look where things stand now with the circles. While the S&P 500 finds itself right back to similar levels, only 41% of the stocks are currently in uptrends. Now, an optimistic take amongst some Bitcoin market participants focuses on the sweeping range lows to continue this bull run. Adherents place emphasis on an area at mid-26,000 with the potential to extend past the 200-week Bitcoin moving average, which is 25,850. Quoting Micalvin Nepop, Bitcoin is still acting sideways here, which means that it might be sweeping the low one more time and then reverse up. I am still expecting to take longs into the next few days. And he also shares this chart, and I also want to quote him here on crypto Twitter. Bitcoin isn't looking bad on the higher time frames, healthy correction, and as long as Bitcoin sustains above 25,300, it is likely will continue this rally towards $42,000, which he outlines right here in this chart. Let me know if you agree or disagree with the crypto analysts. And for breaking news, Coinbase is suing the SEC, seeking regulatory clarity for the crypto industry, and also quoting Nayib Bukele, they can't eliminate Tucker Carlson, so they'll try to smear him, censor him, and get him off the air. And I'm sure all of you know the news. He got fired or stepped down from Fox. So that was President Bukele's response. And also more breaking news. Bitcoin price hits a new record high in Argentina. The peso has crashed 99% versus the US dollar since the beginning of the currency crisis in 2018. And it seems like these countries' currencies are going to continue deflating, just as we're witnessing here firsthand within the United States with the US dollar. And with that being shared, now let's dive into our next breaking story of the day and discuss some plans for Visa with an ambitious product. That's right. Global payments giant Visa continues to explore the benefits of the crypto industry with a new initiative focused on stablecoin payments. Kai Sheffield, the head of crypto at Visa, took to Twitter April 24th to announce a new crypto-related project developed by the firm. Visa's upcoming crypto product is designed to drive mainstream adoption of the public blockchain networks and stablecoin payments. He noted, pretty interesting. And according to the Visa job posting published on April 20th, the company's crypto division is building the next generation of products to facilitate the digital commerce of everyday life. And in order to develop the product, Visa is seeking to hire software engineers focused on programming, back-end systems, and Web3 technologies, particularly interested in experience using GitHub Copilot and other AI-assisted engineering tools to write and debug smart contracts. They wrote on Twitter, and among preferred applicant qualifications, Visa listed a good understanding of Layer 1 and Layer 2 solutions, alongside experience with writing smart contracts using the programming language Solidity. Introduced specifically for the Ethereum network, Solidity is used to create smart contracts on blockchain platforms and generate a chain of transaction records into the blockchain system. And the position also requires good understanding of public and permission distributed ledger network security protocols, private key custody, as well as the new Ethereum enhancements such as ERC-4337. Now, one of the world's largest payment companies, Visa, made a major move into the crypto industry back in 2020, partnering with blockchain firm Circle to support USD Coin, stablecoin on certain credit cards. The firm has gradually expanded its crypto offerings, but halted some new industry partnerships due to the crypto bear market of 2022 and major industry collapses like Celsius and FTX. So there you have it. I mean, payment rails around the world trying to compete with Bitcoin, but honestly, can they? I think not, especially when it comes to the Lightning Network and the fees and speed of these crypto transactions. But we shall see how this is likely to play out. And now let's discuss the latest of what's happening with these crypto whales as they continue eating up the stable coins for the past month, according to Santiment. analytics. That's right, and shout out to Santiment. Large crypto addresses have been accumulating stablecoins amid the crypto volatility in April, according to Santiment. Santiment notes that sharks and whale wallets, or addresses holding between 10,000 and 10 million of the stablecoin DAI, have acquired 6.4% of the asset supply since their DAI holding bottomed out just 6 weeks ago. And according to Santiment, shark and whale addresses are increasing their dry powder as the crypto markets enter into a period of consolidation, as they point out here. Right alongside this chart, DAI is the fourth largest stablecoin, which briefly lost its desired $1 peg over a 3-day period in March and fell to an all-time low of 88 cents. That's right, it depegged. The stablecoin recovered quickly and has largely maintained its dollar price since then, though it was trading at 99 cents at this time. Santiment also notes the Bitcoin and Ethereum traders who were late to the rally are eating up the losses as the two leading crypto assets move below 30,000 and 2,000 respectively. According to the analytics firm, Bitcoin and Ether are witnessing historically high loss transactions, which it says could mark the local bottom for the crypto markets. Quoting them here, since Thursday, traders are moving coins below the prices they obtain them at 3 times as often as above. Historically, when this ratio is below break even, it is a good sign of capitulation that will often mark at least temporary price bottoms. So there you have it. And Ethereum is currently trading below $1,900 at this time. The second ranked crypto asset by market cap is down roughly 1% in the past 24 hours. So there you have it. And now let's dive into our next story of the day and discuss $68 billion in outflows, which is a pretty big deal. According to this latest report, stress on the U.S. banking system triggered a flight of $68 billion from failed Swiss financial giant Credit Suisse. According to new reports, the bank told Reuters that over 61 billion francs, valued at $68 billion US dollars, in assets left the bank in Q1 alone of this year, and that those outflows are growing by the day. Quoting Credit Suisse, these outflows have moderated but not yet reversed as of April 24th, 2023. Now, Credit Suisse is currently being taken over by one of its old rivals, UBS, after an agreement last month. The takeover was only made possible by the Swiss federal government, the Swiss Financial Market Supervisory Authority, FINMA, and the Swiss National Bank, which all agreed to support the deal. An $8 billion euro insurance scheme was offered to UBS to protect it from potential losses, and the Swiss government also changed laws in order to allow it to go through without a shareholder vote. You can't make this stuff up. Thomas Hallett, an analyst at investment bank KBW, said the Credit Suisse's ability to generate revenue was so bad that the takeover deal might be a net negative on UBS unless a deeper restructuring plan was announced. That means ultimately no one can save them. Credit Suisse's troubles began when its depositors began pulling their funds after the bank was exposed to Silicon Valley Bank as well as Signature Bank. Shares of Credit Suisse are currently trading at 91 cents, 98.7% down from its all-time high of $74, last seen back in 2007. The 127-year-old bank's Q1 earnings report is expected to be its last. So there you have it. I mean, the death and destruction of major financial institutions and banks. I mean, $68 billion in losses is a pretty big deal, and Credit Suisse obviously being a major player. And I think this is likely to continue. The bank runs and collapses of the banking systems as we see the collapse of the US dollar. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And now let's break down our next story of the day and discuss El Salvador leading the way for innovation and Bitcoin adoption. And then we'll dive into Max Keiser speaking at the Miami 2023 event, as well as his $220,000 Bitcoin price prediction. And then we'll dive into some live Q&A. Let's discuss it, shall we? So here we go. A historic shift is underway as one nation embraces an unprecedented monetary experiment. As you probably already know, back in September of 2021, El Salvador, the smallest and most densely populated country in Central America, became the first nation to make Bitcoin legal tender. Let's freaking go. As pointed out here, exactly 1 year ago today, El Salvador became the first country to adopt Bitcoin as a legal tender. And this is a throwback tweet from actually 2022. Now, El Salvador's base Bitcoin enthusiast, Francesco, highlighted the significant impact of the country's Bitcoin experiment and noted that El Salvador managed to avert a potential debt crisis due to its adoption of the cryptocurrency, and also mentioned the increasing popularity of Bitcoin education in the country, with 54 students participating in the preliminary stage stage of the CUBO program. The program includes various topics such as economics, monetary history, and theory. Saifedean Amas, the author of the Bitcoin Standard, is set to deliver an in-person lecture as part of the course, and these classes will actually begin, it looks like yesterday, April 24th. Pretty good stuff. I mean, this is what is needed. Now, additionally, the Me Primer Bitcoin initiative reached 5,400 students in March, showcasing a nearly fourfold growth compared to the previous record of 1,400 students. As pointed out here, in March, we broke another record and taught 5,400 in-person intro students in El Salvador, smashing our previous highs of 1,400, and we will not slow down. If this growth continues, we'll be able to educate, free, and empower millions of people in the next few years. Now, El Salvador's Bitcoin Renaissance continues to attract international attention, with prominent figures and businesses flocking to the country. Corey Klippstein, for example, plans to open the Swan Bitcoin House and Bitcoin Beach in El Zante come October. Also, the nation hosted a high-profile Bitcoin conference, Adopting Bitcoin, a lightning summit held in November of 2022, which was more adoption. Also emphasized the significance of El Salvador's regulatory approach to cryptos, treating Bitcoin as money and other assets as commodities. This clear regulatory framework is expected to pave the way for highly anticipated volcano bonds, which are set to be released here soon. So there you have it, mass adoption happening in El Salvador. How many of you actually have plans to visit Bitcoin country, the first country in the world to adopt Bitcoin as the legal tender? Let me know in the comments right down below. Also want to point out all the tax incentives. Zero taxes in Bitcoin City minus VAT, which is value added taxes. That means you don't have any capital gains on your crypto. That means you don't have any, what are those taxes called when you have to pay roughly 30% of your income gains, federal income taxes, none of that. So it seems El Salvador is to be the safe haven place to be for ushering in Bitcoin adoption, and I think it's going to continue as well, as Bukele seems to be making all the right moves. But with that being shared, fam, now let's dive into Max Keiser's latest with him speaking at Bitcoin Conference of 2023. Among hundreds of speakers, unique activations, and viral moments, Max Keiser has become a can't-miss aspect of the Bitcoin Conference event series. During Bitcoin 2019, he emphatically ripped up a $10 bill for CNBC Africa and was labeled the crypto Willy Wonka on The Daily Show, following his energetic appearance at Bitcoin 2021, where he set a portable record for on-staging F-bombs during the FU Money panel at Bitcoin 2022, which was classic. That's where he shared the stage with the Giga Chad, Michael Saylor. Keiser's unique stage presence might seem impoverished, but a media career that has spanned decades and produced television content for BBC, Al Jazeera, and RT, alongside his wife and business partner, Stacey Herbert, indicates that he knows what he is doing, as does his current mission, with Herbert working alongside El Salvador President Nayib Bukele to make one of the Bitcoin conference's most promising announcements an effective reality for millions. Can it be the Bitcoin bonds? In November of 2022, Bukele announced that the two would help establish the country's national Bitcoin office, quoting them here, "You know, in Star Wars, when they jump to hyperspace, that's what's happening in El Salvador," Keiser explained with Bitcoin Magazine. Bitcoin plus Bukele, with some help from Max and Stacey, has catapulted the country into becoming Bitcoin maximalist country. Keiser is quick to note that Bukele, who is everywhere and pushing everything forward 24/7, is almost impossible to keep up with, but he evangelizes the president's country with equal vigor. El Salvador is the Ark, Keiser said. All are welcome while there is still room. I expect the airport to be packed with fiat money refugees soon. Give us you're tired, you're weary, you're banked to death poor, huddling in the casino gulag. Now, the anti-central banking message, which Keiser has been sharing in some form or another throughout much of his career, seems particularly present in the run for the Bitcoin 2023 conference, given the ongoing banking crisis and accompanying Bitcoin price surge. And for someone who has been preaching about the inequalities of the fiat banking system for so long, the current climate is coming as little surprise. Quoting him here, "I read the news about how banks are collapsing, and I feel nothing," Keiser said. "The current collapse is no surprise, of course, as in 2008, there was a catastrophic global credit freeze, the financialized post-World War II economy efficiently died, and financial taxidermists and bankers moved into it with lots of new stuff, worthless fiat money. And now in 2023, the stuffed dead moose has caught fire, and the whole global house of deficit and unpayable financial claims is a bonfire of epic proportions visible from other galaxies. It all seems like the perfect recipe for yet another unforgettable on-stage moment for Max Keiser at Bitcoin 2023. How many of you are going to be attending this event in Miami? Let me know in the comments below. And he also says, I plan to channel Satoshi live on stage as always. I only speak the truth. I am bound by the protocol and the power vested in me as the bishop of Bitcoin to elevate the masses and mass orange pill them whenever possible. Preach. And Max also recently tweeted in response to breaking news of the Treasury and Fed needing $17 trillion to guarantee all bank deposits. Max says $220,000 will come in a flash, and then the real bull market starts. Also want to share with you a prediction that Max Keiser made on December 31st of 2022, the last day of last year. And keep in mind, this was at a time of mass carnage for Bitcoin. We had the collapse of Luna that year. We had the collapse of FTX, and it seemed many were writing off Bitcoin, claiming it was on its deathbed as Bitcoin hit a low of 15,600. And Max made a very bold prediction. Here's what he wrote: my 2023 predictions on Bitcoin will reach $100,000. 2 more countries will adopt it as legal tender. It will become a major electoral issue in U.S. elections this year. Bitcoin City will commence construction. Volcano bonds will be oversubscribed, and a huge surprise at the Bitcoin conference. So there you have it. Now let's dive into today's live Q&A, and let me know your thoughts surrounding his $220,000 price prediction, as well as the list of all those other predictions he made back on December 31st of 2022. And welcome to each and every one of you tuning in to the live show. I greatly appreciate all of your support. Digital Dankness, good morning. Satwise, good morning. Matthew J in the building, good to see you. Greedy Savvy 1, good morning and welcome. Evan Rivero, good to see you as always. Michael Volkman, good morning and welcome. Dan, always a pleasure. Rudy LaPlane, welcome and good morning. Megadon, good morning. Adam 2, I should say good afternoon now, as it is afternoon here in Puerto Rico. The dollar was never meant to last. That being said, it was the super fiat. The rest of the world currency is going to suffer with it. Bitcoin is the only one built for economic crisis. Preach. Digital Dankness, that, my friend, is a fact. Dan Drummond says, I FOMO'd badly at all the wrong times when I first started. Then I dollar cost averaged. My DCA is now at 34,400, and I had to fight like hell to get it that low. DCA, don't time it. There you have it. Well, shout out to Dan Drummond. Only a matter of time before you're back in profit from your average dollar cost average buy-in price. Dankness says, come with me and you'll see a land of crypto salvation. Take a look and you'll see into the financial salvation. Keiser's Willy Wonka song. Love it. Thank you for sharing. Good morning to Dan. That's solid advice, bud. Dollar cost average is going to be the best bet in the climb to the top, says Digital Dankness. Dan says, faux show. Good advice, Dan. My dollar cost average is around $21,000. That's what's up, Matthew. Keep DCAing. BTFD. Buy that freaking dip. Dan says, the bad part is I lost all of my treasures in a boating accident 3 times already. It's the darndest thing. Glad to hear you're not alone. As Michael Saylor's not alone, as so many of us have lost our crypto wallets in boating accidents. It's a damn shame. And now alien invasions, aliens are abducting Bitcoin. It is what it is. What can you do? I did purchase up front and then dollar cost average, says Matthew. I'm curious, what is the price you purchased some of your first Bitcoin, regardless if it's a whole coin or a portion of a coin? As we all know, one Bitcoin can be divided into 100 million Satoshis, and that's why we say stacking them stats for those new to the channel and not in the know. And if you're new, make sure to subscribe here and hit the bell icon to turn on all notifications so you get notified every single day when I go live. I did a big purchase and then dollar cost that word up. Then boats eat things up. That must be why the call is a hole in the water that eats your money. Hilarious. And Matthew says, mine got abducted by the aliens. Oh my God. Dang aliens, they only want our Bitcoin. Where is Twins when we are talking about boats? He knows what happens on boats. That's right. Shout out to Sailing with Twins out there in South Africa. Much love. I know it was just his birthday more recently. Always JV, thanks for the best news on the live show in the biz. You're very welcome. I appreciate each and every one of your support. It means the world to me. What's your thoughts on Coinbase suing the SEC? I think that's great. Obviously, they're fed up and seeking regulatory clarity for the crypto industry, as Gary Gensler can't answer a simple question if Ethereum is a security or commodity. He can't answer. He can't tell you if XRP is a security or they don't know anything. And why do they choose to not know anything? Is they want to surpass this uncertainty into the entire market to suppress the price action before the halving coming up in 2024. So it'll be interesting to see how this all likely plays out. Matthew says, I think next year is going to be crazy and $220,000 is going to look bearish as a prediction. I hope you're right, Matthew. I can totally foresee a six-figure Bitcoin price occurring next year. I hope it's multiple six figures. I think we'll peak out in 2025, as history doesn't necessarily repeat, but often rhymes. In the previous cycles is the year preceding the halving, where we reached the cycle peak, and I think that cycle peak can easily be a $200,000 to $300,000 Bitcoin price action. Let me know if you guys agree or disagree. Dan says it's a pure survival play. Visa wanting a stablecoin. They better rethink them fees though and address some real privacy concerns. Facts. I'm with you 100% there. And quoting someone here, CBDCs are a totalitarian tool. Protect yourself with Bitcoin. And I'm glad you shared that, because CBDCs, we all know as central bank digital currencies, they're being rolled out across countries in the world, including the US. They rolled out their pilot. I believe they're calling their payment system FedNow, which is a precursor to the CBDCs. All I got to say is this: Bitcoin is clearly the antidote to those CBDCs. So if you want to protect yourself, protect your family, protect your wealth, you know what to do, fam. DCA. And keep stacking them stats. Matthew says Joe Rogan and Tucker Carlson are the top two news sources. Well, after crypto news alerts, of course. Yeah, much respect to Tucker Carlson, because he's had Max Keiser, Michael Saylor, Marty Bent, many Bitcoin proponents on the show. And of course, Joe Rogan has as well. It's sad to see Tucker Carlson get released from Fox, but guess what? I think his following has surpassed that of Fox. And I think regardless of where he goes next, even if he becomes a podcaster broadcasting from home, people are going to tune in and want to hear what he has to say. Just like with Joe Rogan, you don't need a big network. It doesn't matter if he's on Fox or not. People are going to tune into his podcast, and he's going to continue to get 10 million views and streams per episode. I think Tucker is also up there as well. So we'll see how that plays out. I also use Clayton Morris's from Redacted, says Michael Volkman, word up. Who's even dumb enough to run against Bukele in 2024? What's their campaign founded on? CBDCs? Probably someone promoting CBDCs and funded by the IMF, as I pointed out, which we all know. Hi, JV and Crypto News Alerts fam, says Bitcoin Maximus. Like button smash, just listening in today. I greatly appreciate your support. Thank you so much for smashing that like button. It means the world to me. He will not mind and be done, says Volkman. Word up. Who else we have here in the live chat? With all of this flexing, I feel like we are at the gym. Word up. Well, after today's show, it's time to go to the gym, isn't it? Today for me actually is leg day. Yesterday I was at the gym pushing that iron up, doing chest day. Tucker is telling too many truths. Facts. He's exposing the corruption of the central banking cartels. He's exposing the corruption of big pharma, which we all know. And he's calling out a lot of powerful people behind the media, the people truly running things behind the scenes. You know what I mean? So he's becoming a threat to the powers that be, or he could be controlled opposition for all we know. Who really knows, right? What are your thoughts? Digital Dankness says a little blood in the water is a good thing. We need to pull back to slingshot us to new highs. Word up. Typically what happens, you got to keep in mind, Bitcoin is up roughly 100% from the bottom of last year, which was towards the end of the year. We hit a low of 15,600. And then more recently, like last week, we topped 31,000 and some change. That's roughly 100% increase in like a quarter, just over a quarter, right? I think year to date for the first quarter was up over 70%, but I think we continue to rise. So this is nothing more than a healthy correction in my mind, so we can accumulate and then rise and smash that current resistance, which is roughly $31,000. So things are looking quite good for 2023. Also keep in mind, history has shown us Bitcoin has one downside year followed by 3 profound price gaining years. And we just had that downside year last year, which means this year, up onwards and upwards. Next year, Bitcoin halving onwards and upwards. And then 2025, expect a cycle peak. That's when we go parabolic, reaching a new level. Most of you can't even imagine right now. And also keep in mind the previous all-time high being 69,000, which we hit back in November of 2021. If we just 2x that previous all-time high, we're realistically talking about $138,000 Bitcoin price action. And what happens when Bitcoin surpasses that six-figure mark? Party in Puerto Rico. Yeah, I mean, how many of you are coming to the $100,000 Bitcoin celebration party here in PR? Let me know in the comments, as I'd love to see each and every one of you here so we can celebrate together with the crypto fam. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind another dip. That's right, because every dip we have is another opportunity of accumulation. Why would you mind? Mike Wells says triggers are set to lick up the lows in Bitcoin. Don't miss out on the buyer times. Word up. And thank you for sharing. Appreciate it. Better buy it up while you still can, says Greedy Sav1. Word up. Another dip would be welcome. Exactly. Y'all know what's good. When the dollar crashes, won't stablecoins be up-ish creek without a paddle? Good question, right? Because if the dollar's doomed and crashes, who cares about a stablecoin, reflecting the value of the dollar, because the dollar is doomed. You make a great point. That's why I'm not all in on stablecoins, and that's why I'm all in on the King Crypto. You know what I mean? Haven't we been through this with the US dollar before, though? Exactly. Well, the US dollar has had a 100-year reign. Typically, fiat currencies only last like 50 years. So this is the collapse of the US dollar empire, in my opinion. I think the writing is on the wall. I know many people have been discussing this for quite some time, but look, now that BRICS have formed, and as I shared in yesterday's episode, 19 new countries. Hey, shout out to Nipsey. 19 new countries want to follow BRICS and step away from the US dollar for international trade. So, I mean, it couldn't be more clear. The dollar is doomed, and this makes Bitcoin that much more bullish, as well as precious metals like gold and silver. Thanks, man, all the way from Florida. Shout out to Evan Rivero. Florida is my old stomping grounds. Before I moved here to Puerto Rico, I was living in Clearwater, Florida. I actually grew up in Florida, so let me know what part of Florida you are from. Let's all fly down to El Salvador after we hit Puerto Rico. That sounds good. Let's do like a week in Puerto Rico. Well, I live here, so, but then let's fly down to that'd be tremendous. I'd love to visit El Salvador. I think we'd have a blast personally. Capital gains tax. Good question. I believe in Bitcoin City, 0 capital gains tax. Here in Puerto Rico, under Act 60, if you qualify and you live here 183 days out of the year, 0 capital gains tax on all investments, including real estate and cryptocurrency. That's right. That's one of the big incentives and benefits for being here. That's why Puerto Rico is considered the crypto mecca of the United States. It doesn't require a passport. If you're already a United States citizen, you come down here, you apply for Act 60 if you get approved, 0 capital gains taxes and 0 federal income taxes. Instead, we just pay a 4% corporate state tax. Try to beat that. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Definitely might have to move there, says Greedy Sav1. Rudy says, wow, no tax and just a value-added tax. That's right. Wasn't that how the U.S. was started? Can't imagine how successful Salvador will be. And it's already massively successful. Now the safest place to be in all Latin America. And it used to be the most dangerous. That's because of Bukele. And that's because of the Bitcoin standard. So shout out to President Bukele. Digital Dankness says that Visa makes 24,000 transactions per second. And ETH can only handle 7,000 per second. I doubt Visa would use anything but their own blockchain. Interesting. Matthew, good morning, StatWise. Good to see y'all as well. Loading my puff. That's what's up. 420. Welcome, Selling with Twins. We were just talking about you. I'm glad you can tune in. Nipsey, let's freaking go. That's right. Shout out to the official mascot of Crypto News Alerts, Nipsey the Great. Megadon says, I bought my first Bitcoin at $900. Now I dollar cost average. Holy moly. And hopefully you bought a tremendous amount of money at that dollar value, considering you're now up approximately from that first buy. What is that? 30x? Not too shabby. I actually just shared a video on crypto Twitter this morning of Da Vinci telling everyone back in 2013 to please buy $1 worth of Bitcoin. Lo and behold, that was when Bitcoin was only worth $1, and today it's worth over $27,000. So that's a 27,000x return for anyone who listened to Da Vinci. Now I'm actually curious, Megadon, what's your dollar cost average over time now? Obviously, it must have went up since then. I'd love to know if you're willing to share. If not, all good. I think that the court's forcing the SEC to define what a security is. The only way we will see clarity. That's right, because the SEC is clearly not going to tell us unless they're forced to do so through, as you just mentioned, through the courts. There is already precedence, Michael. Statute of limitations for the SEC is 3 years. They can't win against any of the old coins. Sailing says, been a hectic day as usual, but glad I finally got my last bit of crypto news alerts. I greatly appreciate you tuning in, supporting the show as always. Glad you made it. JV knows the score. Never underestimate controlled opposition. That's right. You got to think of it that way. I look at Trump, controlled opposition. I look at Elon, controlled opposition. I look at Tucker, controlled opposition, because I'm thinking from a different perspective versus the same way everyone is thinking, right? What's their purpose? You know what I mean? What are they trying to accomplish? And it's not necessarily that hard to see through the matrix once you can see it, because once you're exposed to the truth, there's no turning back. You know what I mean? Once you're orange pilled, it is what it is. Welcome to a new life down the rabbit hole, but for the better. I mean, it's for the better so that you can protect yourself against the powers that be at the end of the day. So never underestimate any leader. They're called false idols. Didn't God warn us about this? Beware of false idols. Just saying, it is what it is. There's only a few people that I believe are true and genuine leaders that care about humanity and the people are not bought for by the central banking cartels or the IMF, etc. Those people include Bukele, the only president I know not controlled by the dark forces that are plaguing this planet right now. You know what I mean? Shout out to Michael Saylor. I believe he has a genuine heart as well. Shout out to Max and Stacy. I believe they're genuine individuals as well. And I can't say that about many other leaders. I can't speak that way against Elon. I know he's controlled opposition. I know that for a fact. You know what I mean? I know he's here to mislead humanity, and I know what his ultimate plot and plan is. You know what I mean? I recognized this years ago. I started calling him out for it. It just is what it is. You know what I mean? Let me know if you guys agree or disagree. Guys, word up. Dankness, I appreciate you tuning in as always. Megadon says, I have no idea what my dollar cost average is. I'm guessing between 15 and 28,000. Well, the mid of that would be roughly, 21,000 ballpark. Not too shabby. I know you're in the green, so congratulations. Keep doing your thing. Beware of false prophets. You got that right, Bitcoin Maximus. Trust nobody. You know what I trust? Bitcoin. Why? I trust mathematics. I don't trust any central banker, anyone represented by a central banker, any politician funded by a central banker. It just is what it is. Agreed about Elon, says Bitcoin Maximus. That's right. And let's not forget that SpaceX is a fraud. They can't even launch a rocket that can't explode within 5 minutes. How are they going to send anyone to the moon? Have we ever sent anyone to the moon? No, we haven't. Is Elon going to be sending people to Mars? Absolutely not, especially when they can't design a rocket that doesn't destruct, you know what I mean? Self-destruct and explode. So until then, let's talk. But it is what it is. I look at SpaceX as the modern day NASA, which was created by the Nazis, you know what I mean? And it's controlled and funded by the United States government, the same way that Elon Musk is controlled and funded by the United States government. That, my friend, is a fact. You know what I mean? Bitcoin go to $35,000. Laughing my ass off at Mars. Exactly. You already know, fam. And as you can see, Bitcoin is currently pumping. Let's go. 27,400. Bro, what the heck is a crypto Willy Wonka? That was FUD, some mainstream labeled Max Keiser. So I just ran with it. I thought it was hilarious. Exactly. What is a crypto Willy Wonka? Great question, Eric. And I appreciate you tuning in, fam. But anyways, now for a recap of what I covered with you here. In today's show, we discussed the Bitcoin price flatline near 27,000, as well as what can trigger the next big move. We discussed Van Day Pop discussing that this rally will continue towards $42,000. Also shared breaking news of Coinbase suing the SEC, seeking regulatory clarity for the crypto industry. We also shared breaking news of the Bitcoin price hitting a new record high in Argentina as the pesos continues to hyperinflate against the US dollar. We also discussed Visa sharing plans for an ambitious crypto product, which is stablecoin payments. We also discussed the latest of crypto whales and sharks rapidly eating up the stablecoins for the past month during this market bounce, according to Sentiment Analytics. We also discussed the U.S. banking crisis triggered $68 billion in outflows from the global financial giant Credit Suisse. We also discussed El Salvador, digital transformation, the unlikely leader of the Bitcoin adoption, as well as Max Keiser, the Willy Wonka of crypto, ready to seize the moment at Bitcoin 2023. And quoting Max one last time, $220,000 Bitcoin will come in a flash, and then the real bull market starts. But where do you feel the Bitcoin price is likely to go next? Let me know in the comments right down below, and I look forward to seeing you on tomorrow's show.